Hello, everyone, and happy equinox, autumnal equinox. Here we are on September 21st, 2020, and I just want to do a reading in honor of the equinox and what might be helpful for us to know at this time. The energies, this time of shifting from the summer to the fall. The days are equally long to the evenings. Let's start with our intention setting. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm here to do a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of anyone who chooses to listen to this reading at this time. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that they most need to receive right now, and to provide that to them in a manner that they will easily and effortlessly hear, understand, and integrate for their highest and greatest benefit and the benefit of anyone whose life they touch. I ask my higher self and the higher selves of all those who will be listening to be present, as well as an overlighting angel of communication, to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it's happening in the highest and best way possible for the highest and greatest good of all concerned. I call upon the four archangels to come and hold the four directions around us, creating a container of light, love, wisdom, beauty, healing, upliftment, encouragement, resolution, discernment. Truly anything that is in our collective heart and mind at this time. And anything that doesn't match these frequencies is welcome to go now. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. I thank you for coming and creating the sacred container across time and space, including everyone who's listening to this. Let's get moving forward. Okay. We have a beautiful day here. It's nice and sunny. Just a wonderful, wonderful change into the autumn. Let's go here. So, okay, my lovely friends, here we are. Start with the recent past. The influence is waning. We have craftsmanship. This idea of working diligently to create something, of applying oneself in a disciplined and consistent manner to create a foundation for one's life experience. You know, it's so wonderful when we learn that we are the ones creating, crafting ourselves and this life. This card refers to that idea of us diligently and intentionally co-creating our life with the energy of life. We're here to dance this dance with the energies of all that is there and to be the better for it. This is sitting in our recent past. The influence is waning, but it continues into our present and into the future with this idea of craftsmanship, of discerning that we are the ones creating our lives, and how are we going to go about it? What are we going to do to create the life that we want? Okay, and the next card, balance. So in our present environment, we're looking at this energy of balancing, of staying peaceful, of staying grounded, centered, and aligned. There's so much energy going on right now on the planet. We all know that. There's, every time we listen to the news, there's something new. So it behooves us to be especially diligent about crafting whatever it is that we need to stay centered and peaceful and resilient in the face of whatever our media tends to want to throw at us. We have all that we need within us to achieve a state of balance, but we need to learn to tap into it, to ask for the help, and to do what it takes to have this grounding in our lives, this centering in our lives. So we're being called upon, despite all the ups and downs that are going on in the world, to be centered and balanced. In the near future, Queen of Pentacles. This has to do with creating the Queen of Pentacles is a person with qualities that is really good at manifesting on the material plane. They're very good at creating security on a material level, not only for themselves, but for others. And this is through the energy of the feminine, because we have a queen, not a king. So it's through this intention of collaboration and intuition and sensitivity and emotional connection, etc. This is sitting in our near future, this energy of the Queen of Pentacles. So this being called to connect with each other, to look out for each other, to create a collective future together that is harmonious and balanced, where all are taken care of. This is very much the new direction that we're being called to go in, especially as the old order falls away, which is to the benefit of the few. We're looking at a model that's about the benefit of the many, the benefit of all. Foundation of the reading, sacrifice, why we're having this reading, is this change, this sadness that we have with regards to what's going on, the upset that we're witnessing on the planet, this deep, there is such deep sadness. There's such deep sadness for all of the many things that we have going on this planet in terms of our relationship to each other, our relationship to this planet, and how we've done so much damage. And we continue to do damage. But it's important for us not to lose hope, not to lose sight of the possibility of creating solutions that will serve all of us. This is a very, very intentional and important distinction, not to get stuck in the sadness, not to get stuck in the emotions and incapacitated by it, but rather to rally ourselves and redirect our energy, have our feelings, yes, recognize that this is part of what it means to be human. We are going to have these feelings. We are going to have these sadnesses. And we can use that information to move us in the direction of what we want. This emotional state doesn't need to drown us. We can use our feelings to guide us towards better solutions that will serve us collectively in a much better way. But yes, right now, there is this collective upswell of emotion, of upset. So what do we want for our future? You know, the foundation card is about why we're having the reading. It's what do we want? And this question of sacrifice comes up because, of course, that's the name of the card. But what must we change? What must we do differently? What are we prepared to give up to have a world, the world that our heart calls us towards? And, you know, sometimes it's not so much the giving up, but the reframing of that, the understanding that we are, these things that we think we need are not necessarily what we truly want. And of course, that's been one of the benefits and the blessings of this time of the COVID, is this great pause, this opportunity to distinguish what truly is important to us. What really is it that brings us joy, that brings us to peace, that we long for when we're not able to have it. So using that information to distinguish the importance of the things that we want, and then to move our intention consciously towards that, making choices in our lives that bring us closer to this desire for balance in the world, this desire for a world that our hearts know is possible, as Charles Eisenstein says. How we need to conduct ourselves this next quarter. We have the Queen of Wands, tapping into that creative fire, tapping into the energy of imagination, of creative visualization, of being a participant in a inspired, enthusiastic way in our experience, in our collective experience, using our gifts for good. And so, you know, a reminder to come back to our creative outlets, whatever that may be for you, and use that creativity to fuel you, to inspire you, to enliven you. Use your creative imagination to visualize the future that you would love to see happen on this planet. Take time to dream it into happening. This is how we need to conduct ourselves, is we need to take time to be in that creative imaginal state and collectively dream this future that we want to see. You know, going into the winter, we're going in through the fall, we're heading into the winter now. It's very much about this time of inward. We tend to withdraw our energy from the outer world. like the trees do from their leaves, and then the leaves drop and the energy goes down to the roots. It's a similar time for us as humans. And this is something to remember as we go into this autumn season. And how do we continue to be generative and to bring the light of the sun into our everyday lives in a sustainable, uplifting, inspiring manner? How others are going to be. It's the card of Justice. It's our first major arcana in this spread, and therefore it's a pay attention card. So how others are going to be is this energy of karma, this energy of catching the bounce, so to speak, this energy of dynamically interacting with life rather than being reactive. This is about moving forward to engage with life in the manner so that we are interrupting old patterns and that we are creating new patterns. This is how others are going to be. So this idea of using our creative inspiration to enable us to dance with life in a different way. This card applies to all of us, both of these, because of course we are others to each other. And how we can inspire each other by taking a different path, by doing a different dance, by interacting with life in a different way. This is what this Justice card is all about. This is about intentionally co-creating with life and interrupting old patterns and changing the patterns even of karma, so to speak. Jumping forth, catching the ball, bouncing against the wall in a different way, changing those dynamics. And you're letting it be fueled by our creative passion, the visioning that we have for this future, this visioning for all of us benefiting, this vision for a harmonious and joyful and beautiful future where we all have a place and we all have a contribution to make. And the outcome, the Hermit. So again, touching back to that idea of withdrawing energetically from the world. I know we've been locked in COVID, in the quarantine, and here's a card that talks about pulling away. But this is an intentional collecting of the self, pulling the self into a state of contemplation and wisdom, of leveraging one's ability to be of service to others by lighting the path along the route of life. So you think about the Hermit, the Hermit goes off and separates itself from humanity to separate from the distractions of the world and spend time on the important matters. And we seek the Hermit out because the Hermit has wisdom for us. And this is the outcome that we're moving towards, is this idea of accessing the wisdom that is within us. It requires us to pull away from the distractions of the world. And what better time than during the natural withdrawal of energy that happens in the wintertime, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. So taking time to get comfortable with this idea of energy going in, of pulling our energy in, of using it to connect with our inner wisdom, with our inner teacher and our inner guides, and living from that truth that we'll find. Because when we live from the truth that we know within ourselves to be authentic, we become a beacon for others on their paths of light so that they can find their way on the path of life up the mountain. We are a light for each other when we live authentically and congruently and well. So that's our outcome. So if we just do a recap here, we have the Eight of Pentacles, this idea of craftsmanship, of building, of being careful. So in the material realm, this idea of building a life, building a skill set, building a platform for life, building a toolbox, that kind of idea, this idea of craftsmanship, infusing life with intention and attention. That's recent past. And so this to me speaks of our individual visions for our lives and for the world, crafting this, refining it, and through the experience of being in lockdown and this great pause, we've refined that even more. We're getting even clearer about what we want and what's important to us. And that's helping us to collectively be able to move that world we know is possible forward from an individual perspective. The present card is the card of balance, really striving in every moment not to get caught up in the drama, really striving to choose peace over conflict, peace over adversity, peace over drama, really choosing to be centered, to be grounded, to be a clearing in our own life. But as we choose to be that in our own experience, and that might just be from self-preservation because we just don't want the drama anymore, we are a clearing for others as well. Recognizing the gift that we give to ourselves, yes, and to others when we choose to be a kind, clear, grounded, peaceful presence in the world. That's the energy of the present environment going into this equinox season, this season of the fall, the autumn. The near future, this collective crafting of a collective future that serves everyone, that has the well-being of everyone at its heart. This coming together, this collaborative, communal, and very feminine, this idea of family, of working together, of pulling together, of everyone pulling together and creating the future that we're holding in our hearts and minds. And finding ways to express this in your own life. You may feel called to participate with certain groups or do certain things in your community. One woman I was speaking to recently, she is making extra soup and canning it just in case someone in her community needs it if they get sick. She's ready and prepared if she gets sick, but also if somebody else gets sick. Again, this idea of thinking not only for ourselves, but thinking for the benefit and well-being of our communities. It's just a little shift, but it's so powerful. And this is our collective thrust for the next little while. This future thrust is this idea of visioning this future, of creating this future, of making it happen. And we'll make it happen by following our enthusiasm. We'll make it happen by following that voice within us, that guidance that comes from within, especially when we are intentional about what we're holding going forward. So setting intention, like I do at the beginning of the reading, I set the intention for the condition, for the state of the reading, what we're going to achieve, what's going to happen here. The same idea of setting intention for life, for the world, for ourselves. It's really helpful because then we have clarity around what it is that we want for ourselves, what it is that we want for the larger picture of life. And then when we go out and we make decisions in life, that decision-making process is clear because we have that intention that's clarified our longing, our asking, our wanting, our desires. We have refined it. We have created a container around it. So we know what we're about. We have that guidance. So that's part of this moving into the near future, creating this beautiful collaborative future, taking care of each other, of making a world where everyone's needs are met and where we are all moving forward together in harmony and well-being. Foundation of the reading is, yes, the ongoing upset of this tumultuous time, the ongoing heartbreak, the ongoing upheaval on an emotional level that we're feeling, and I know some days it's good and some days it's hard, and it's okay. It's okay. Really just recognizing that this is a very intense time, and that through this intensity, through this dramatic contrast, this is so helpful for us to clarify what is important, what we care about, what we love, what we want more of, what we want to see in our experience. It's a dramatic opportunity through the drama for us to see through and past and what it is that we want. And, if you find yourself stuck in this feeling, it's okay. Breathe, be there. That's okay. And recognize that you're more than this. You are more than your feelings. Your feelings are a temporary state, and they're information. They're information that what you're giving your attention to is not serving you. It's not serving the bigger picture, and you're getting stuck in that. So just be aware when you're feeling this way, when you're stuck in this. Find some way to redirect your energy towards something that is positive and will give you even a tangible result, a concrete result. Now that could be just getting outside and going for a walk. And I highly encourage you to turn off your media, maybe don't plug in quite so much. Give yourself a holiday of some kind, a virtual holiday, something. Go and do something that inspires you and enlivens you and changes your mind, changes your experience, changes your heart, distracts you. It's okay to do that. It's okay to do that. And come back to your life refreshed with a new perspective. We can't solve on an individual level the collective crises that we see out there, the big stuff that gets thrown at us. We can be a part of the solution by staying grounded and centered and positive. But what we can do is be in our own lives and be a source of light and love and kindness and peace and clearing for each other. That's what we can do. So if you wish that to be part of your field, ask for the help and it will come. Ask for the direction and it will come. There is a broader, wiser part of us that is involved with us in all of this. And when we don't see clearly, that part does. And we can always rely upon it for help. So don't forget to ask for help. How we need to conduct ourselves, this idea of creativity, of expressing ourselves, of leveraging our gifts to creatively imagine this collective future, to use them well and use them wisely, because the Queen, she's the maturation of the suit. She is empowered by, she knows her suit. And in this case, this is the realm of creativity, passion, and inspiration. So using the things that you love, using the things that light you up to propel you in a good way in your life, to give you energy, to give you inspiration, to keep you enthusiastic, to keep you moving forward, accessing that aspect of your life to keep you inspired and moving forward in your life. Does that make sense? So this creativity, this passion, whatever it is, whether that's quilting, whether that's making music, whether that's gardening. Well, again, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're putting things to bed at this point, but using our enthusiasm to keep us moving forward in a positive manner, keeping us juicy and generated. So that's the energy of how we need to conduct ourselves, giving our attention to those things that inspire us, giving our attention and energy to keeping those pieces alive and generating new life and new energy within us. Card of Justice is how others are going to be. This card of interacting with life in a positive way, taking command of our lives, recognizing that we are the ones driving the bus in our own experience, riding the bicycle, whatever analogy you prefer. But this idea that we aren't passively just going along with the flow, although there's a certain amount of that, there's a certain currents that we're carried along with, but that we can dynamically engage with life, break up existing patterns, and be a co-creator in a very powerful way in our life experience. We have that choice, we have that opportunity, and that's very solid. So remembering that this is how others are going to be, others maybe will be helping us to break up those patterns by shifting the dynamics in unexpected ways. And since we are that in each other's lives, it's just recognizing that as we embrace this rejuvenating energy of our enthusiasm and our passions, we will be inspired to engage with life in new ways. And recognizing that that's part of it, this new inspiration, this opportunity to change it up, to switch it up, and to move forward from a really positive, generative place. Again, with this idea of intention, what are we holding? What are we holding individually for our collective future? Because we're part of it. We are parts of the collective. Our own heart's longing is influencing the collective. We have to start thinking about things from this holistic perspective, that who we are and what we desire is part of this collective energy that we're all part of. We are all one. And it sounds maybe a little bit worn out, that expression, we are all one, but we are, and we're in this experience together. And how do we make it good for everybody? Okay, and the outcome, this idea of the withdrawal of energy inward, seeking the inner teacher, renewal that comes from the inner reflection and the connection to that wiser, broader part of us, that new inspiration and discernment that comes, that we can then carry forward into our lives and make decisions and choices from that wiser, deeper place. And as a result of living more congruently, we become a light in the experience of others, so that others can find their way to their path up the mountain and be authentic and true to themselves, just as we are being authentic and true to ourselves. So this is the outcome for the energy of the equinox. This is this next season that we're in. We're looking at this collective energetic, again, because we are part of it. We are part of life. And in the Northern Hemisphere, certainly our energy is withdrawing from the outer world into the inner world as the world gets cooler and life goes inward to go into that dormant renewal state so that it can come out again in the spring, stronger, healthier. But it's all part of the cycle. We need to rest to be strong. It's all part of the cycle of renewal and regeneration. And so working with that, leveraging it, understanding it, making the cycles of nature our own cycles. It may be helpful to start to connect to the cycles of the moon as well and recognize the influence that these bodies can have on us. We all know the stories of the full moons about emergency wards getting fuller of people, and different wacky things going on. There is an influence, more babies being born. And it's kind of an interesting thing, but recognizing that we can start to leverage these energies in our own experience, to use them as our allies, to use them to catch the bounce, so to speak, in our lives and make choices that are serving us in a better way. So, as we go into this autumn season, I'm going to close these cards up. What's our card to grow on for this autumn season until the solstice? What do we need to keep before us? The Hermit. So again, this idea of learning to go within, to access the inner teacher, the broader, wiser part of us, to listen to that inner knowing, to live our lives in a more congruent manner. In a way, when I say that, I mean living in a way that is honoring of our inner truth, of who we really are and what we are bringing to the world. But we need time to discover that. And that's where this pulling inward comes from, this idea of taking care of having time to connect with that self. And so it's interesting because last week's reading was really about practicing one's discipline. And by that, I was talking about a meditation practice or a practice of some kind that gives you space apart from the world to access the inner wisdom that's already there. By spending time in meditation, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, it doesn't have to be difficult. We can access this broader, wiser part of us and have more of these powerful discernments running in our experience so that we can align our lives in a way that is more congruent with our hearts and with our collective intention. So our card to grow on for the coming season of autumn is the energy of the Hermit, the energy of withdrawing from the world with intention, to connect with the wiser, broader part of us, to live our lives from that broader, wiser place. And from that, we shine more brightly in the world because we are more congruent. And we are clearing then for others to find their path to their wisdom and their truth. Because we're all one, the more each of us does this, the easier it is for others to access their intuition, to access their meditation state, to access their broader, wiser perspective. When each of us has a practice, it's a discipline that serves not only us, but everyone on the planet, because we're all connected. So if you are in a place of privilege where you have space in your life and an opportunity to have a practice of some kind, please embrace it. Please make a point of spending time in quiet every day, accessing the broader, wiser part of us, and getting answers to your questions and inspirations, and then living more congruently as a result. It's a gift not only for you, but for all of us. And so, with that, Creator, I thank you for this reading on the energies of the autumn season that is coming up. I am so grateful for your continued guidance to us as we walk through this life in this challenging time, as we find our way back to what is important, back to what is in alignment with our true calling, our true heart, and our true knowing. As the world continues its somersaults and its craziness, support us in finding our way back to our hearts, to what we know to be true, so that we can live more congruently, be a beacon of light to each other, and be in service from this place of light and love, of kindness, to the greater collective vision of well-being and love and well-being and healing for all, including this magnificent planet, which is our home. Wherever you are, find your inspiration from the things that you love. Go towards your enthusiasm and give yourself an opportunity to withdraw and find your wisdom and your peace so that you can live in a more expressed, congruent, and aligned manner. I ask for help for all of us as we take this journey, as we continue on this path. I give thanks to all those who are here helping us today, the clarity of the message and the wisdom. I'm grateful to be of service. Much love and light to each and every person who is listening to this recording. Find your hermit, find your inner hermit. Spend your autumns finding your inner hermit. Enjoy yourself. Find the creative, expressive, passionate part of this, the enthusiasm, and enjoy the journey. The reading is at an end. I thank you to everyone who is listening now and in the future. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful autumn. We'll talk again soon. Lots of love.